Yeah, there's some scratches in there that, I don't know, these are pretty rough as far as I can just barely feel them. So I might go ahead and I don't know if I can sand with Scotch-Brite or what. Probably going to want to get those out though. Okay, the back side of the door is all the way ready to go. I've even washed it down with some grease remover. Not wax and grease remover, but just some regular, that's super green stuff, you know, just to hit it, just to get it cleaned off a little bit before I, well then I hit it with the Scotch-Brite, and then I cleaned it off again, you know, just to get the dust off from the Scotch-Brite. I got a little excited when I did this door as far as jumping into the fillers and stuff. I should have examined the whole door, you know, for dents, because now I found a couple other ones. So what I got, and I don't know how good this picks up, but you can probably see that dent right there. Oh, there's another one right here. Right there. Where's my... there. Okay. So there's another one right there. Okay. So I got two little dents, one there and one there. There's a really light dent all the way down, that mark. It's a scratch, but there's a light indentation on the scratch, so I'm gonna do that too. And even way back here, there's a little ding right there. And up on here, damn, I gotta run this camera on here more often. That works pretty good for finding stuff. There's one right here too. I was talking about this one over here. So there's a pretty good ding right there. So I got some dings. There you go. Okay. So I figure, you know, if I'm going through all of this, I might as well freaking get those right? Because then I go to paint it and I freaking got little dings in there, I'm going to be pissed. So yeah, I got to get those taken care of. Okay, so to go ahead and take care of this, we put some 80 grit on our DA. Okay, it's 80 grit sandpaper on a dual action sander. Now, if you want to do it by hand, I recommend using something more like a 180 grit on a block to go ahead and sand over that dent. But what I did here was I took the DA and just went over it and over it and over it, and now I'm starting to break through to where you can see the bare metal. Okay, and right there in between there is where the dent is. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to keep taking it down to bare metal. Okay, now this application, this can be done anywhere on any vehicle. There's ways to do this called paintless dent repair, PDR for short, that where you would actually go inside your door panel with a long tool and try to press this out. But in this application, we're going to be painting this whole door anyway, so we're just going to go ahead and fill it with some really high quality filler. So make sure you're in a ventilated area. Normally I'd have the garage door open, but I'm trying not to scare the neighbors. Make sure you're wearing some kind of a dust mask or something. You don't want to be breathing in this paint and primer dust. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, like I said, finish taking it down to bare metal, and then I'm going to mix up some fiberglass waterproof sealer, like I've done here in the bottom of this door. We've repaired some rust pits and stuff on here. You can look at other videos if you guys want some instruction on how to do that. But for now, we're going to concentrate on this dent here, and alright, we'll resume video after I got this down to bare metal in the dent and around the dent, a good 3 inches or so. Okay, and then we're gonna fill that in and feather it out. Okay, people, got her ground down. You can probably see the dent really good now. Okay, see what we're dealing with here? Okay, just a small dent right through the middle there. Okay, so I've gone a little over an inch that way, a little over an inch that way, inch this way of bare metal. And I'm gone out, 4 inches or so, or 3 inches, 2 inches around that. So there we have. So there we have it. Got some fiberglass filler all mixed up here. We're using a fiber strand. Okay, you can get that at Napa. Or they have similar products at O'Reilly's as well. You're looking for a short-haired fiberglass waterproof body filler. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that body filler and you set it on there. You just lightly go over it. You can see it fill the low areas. So you're gonna go way out here to the paint, and you're gonna come all the way across. Paint all the way across, and you can control how much is going on by how much you change this. If you go down right when you get to the hole and drop it, it's going to lay a lot down, okay? So that's really all you need. You can tell that it's filled, okay? I'm going to put it on just a little bit thicker. I'm going to clean all this stuff up too. The stuff on the outside edges and stuff. The less you got on your panel, the less work you're going to have later, okay? With sanding and whatnot. So there it is. Okay, I got a lot of extra here. So I'm going to go ahead and use it on another application here. Alright, so we're going to let that dry and we'll be back in a second. Alright, so we've waited about 10 minutes and this feels pretty dry. It's still a little tacky in areas, but if you can scratch it and without digging in too bad, I'd say go ahead and start. On a thin application like this, it should only take about 10 minutes depending on if you put enough hardener, if you mix enough hardener in there. If you didn't mix quite enough hardener in there, it might take a little longer to dry. But you definitely don't want to let this sit and dry for a day. It's good to go ahead and hit it right away because it's a little softer and easier to work with. So on this small and thin of an application, I'm going to go ahead and use a straight block sander like this. On something a little bit bigger, especially on a curve like this, you're going to want to use something on, made out of wood or something, and you're going to want something a little bigger. But for this application, we're good with this block by 3M here. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come at the top and you come down at a little bit of an angle. Okay, and this is 320. I'm sorry, this is 180. So once you hit it this way, come back and hit it from this side. Okay, and we're going over. We're not rubbing it too hard. We're kind of going over that hump a little bit too, and we're kind of rolling with the punches. Okay. Okay. Right, sometimes when it's still a little soft yet, it'll fill up your sandpaper really fast. Okay, and your sandpaper's kind of worthless with all that body filler mixed in it. So, but there you go. And you can see the middle's still dark yet. It's because my sandpaper hasn't started hitting it yet. So you're going to want to keep going and keep going until you start scratching that middle surface. If you don't scratch that middle surface the whole time and all your edges come back, that means it's still low in the middle there, and you're going to want to go ahead and put on a second coat. Okay, so what happened was I put such a thin layer on that it wasn't even enough to fill that really small dent. Okay, and that's okay. You want to put it on really freaking thin, okay? Now what I'm going to do to get the second coat on is I'm going to take some sandpaper and I'm going to take with my hand and just rub it around in the middle of it just to scuff that middle up, okay? So that that next layer adheres really good. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same exact thing I just did. I'm going to spread it out over top of this whole circle right here again. Okay? And I still feel a low spot. I put glazing putty over this one, and I still feel a slight low spot on the outside edge of it, like it was a little bigger than what I thought. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with the DA really lightly, just to get the primer off. And I think I'm gonna spread a coat from here down to here, and then sand that off. I did get some sanding paper. I think I'm going to use a 2x4 and sanding paper and just sand that stuff off. So, and then I'll take care of all of these at the same time. Actually, I think I'm going to use my my half time because I don't know. It's glazing putty and filler all in one. So unless the microlite or the, I don't really think I have to go as far as to use fiber on these little tiny dents, but so yeah, I'll just one of those, I don't know, one of those 3 fillers for these tiny little dents. I don't care which one it is. So, and then yeah, we should be good. And like I said, I'm going to hit that a little bit too. Get it all perfect, you know. There's a couple high spots on this down here too, so I'm going to hit those up with the block now that I got some big sanding paper. So alright, I will show you it when it's done being prepped, and then I'm going to take wax and grease remover to it, and or actually I'm going to take that's only, I'm using used up 80 grits still to get this the right shape, and then I'm using the 120 stickets is what I was using to kind of get, or 180s. I got 180s that I was putting on the block, the 3M block, but I think I'll switch to the 180 DA and the 180, and I'll DA the whole door with that, or at least the parts that are got the deep scratches, and then go back over where I sanded with 80 grit to kind of get those 80 grit scratches out, and then from there I need to go down to a 400, but I didn't even freaking get any 400 yet, so I'm gonna have to go grab some of that before the O'Reilly's closes too. Totally forgot about that. So at least 400. I should go down to 6, but I don't know. Pisser always goes down to 400, and his paint jobs come out awesome. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. All right. Later. The time has come. I'm ready. I'm ready to paint. I took it down with the 80 grit, a bunch of used 80 grits, so they weren't quite 80 grit, but that's what I used to knock down the little dents and stuff on all the, you know, the dents here, and there, you know. I hit it with, I went to O'Reilly's to buy a body tool, and they didn't have one, so I'm like, you know what, I already got a body tool, I just need the sandpaper for it. So that's my Stanley Fat Max body tool, whatever you call them. Planers? I don't know what you guys call them. I don't know the terminology. I don't. But I needed one of those for the doors, you know, to freaking rake down, and especially on the bottom here where, you know, I had to freaking get all this nice and flat. Still, it just wasn't quite flat, you know, there's still a couple waves in it. I knew it was because I was using the DA and the, you know, in the little flexible palm block thing, you know, that little 3M thing. But so I got it all down with that 80, got it to the right shape anyway. And then I went to our 180, or on the 3M block sander. So I block sanded with 180, and that's really smoothed it out a whole lot. Holy cow, that's nice. And it really smoothed out a lot of those, you know, big scratches and stuff that were in there. Actually, I used that. You know, remember there was a couple dents I was supposed to fill over on this side? I had a couple circled right here and right here or something. And actually one of them was right here where that dark spot still is. But it's smooth as glass, man. They frickin' sanded out with 180 on the 3M pad, wherever the hell that went. There it is. It's a stick-it pad. It's actually for these stick-it deals. It's called a 3M stick-it 05586 hand pad, used with 6-inch diameter stick-it discs. These things. And I freaking took that with the 180, and it worked freaking awesome for taking some scratches out. It's not that flexible. I mean, you can make it flexible by pushing on it really hard, but if you want to just freaking leave it, you know, and go lightly, and especially if you want to use the side of it, it's pretty freaking. It's still strong enough to be able to use like a somewhat like a block, you know. But after I did that, I was so happy with it, I almost started thinking about spraying paint, but I'm like, oh, what am I doing? It's only 160. It just feels so smooth already, you know? So I grabbed one used 180. I don't even know where it is now. Is that it? Yeah, I have this used 180 that you can pretty much see through. It's like paper thin. I used the crap out of it. It's really smooth, and like the very edge is probably like 3 times smoother than the middle of it. So I put this on the block, and it freaking took out all the 180 scratches. So I don't know what grit that would technically be called. You know, I'm guessing it's probably close to 300 or 400-ish, right around there. You know, because all the grain, you know, because it's all wore out. But it's freaking baby smooth. I don't know. I mean, I should do a 400. I know I should definitely do 400, and a lot of people go down to 600, which is probably what I'm going to work up to. I'll probably eventually just do 600. But on this door, man, I got high build primer. I got, you know, I'm going to shoot it. And I know you guys think I'm crazy and it's not going to look good and stuff, but you should feel this thing. I didn't have time to run down and get any. That's why I just grabbed that sandpaper. I'm like, gosh, that's really thin. I should just do the whole damn door with it. So I did. I did the whole door from about here down. And all the top stuff up here, you know, all the paint's good up there, so I just Scotch-Brighted it. With the gray Scotch-Brite. But then after I did this all with that wore-out 180, I went over the whole thing with gray Scotch-Brite too, just to get it even finer. You know? We can feel so far from so close, like ships in the night. We keep passing me by, just wasting time. Trying to go, crashing. And then I did all the 2 lines, and I think it's ready to go. So we're painting. We're gonna be painting fools here pretty soon, man. So I got a lot of work to do. Did you see this? I gotta put my tools away. I gotta clean the floor. I gotta put tools away, more tools away. I gotta clean up that pile of crap. I got parts and stuff I gotta put away, and I definitely gotta get my bench cleaned off. And then I'm gonna spray. I'm gonna freaking do it. And I'm also gonna put up a video on how to modify your freaking Harbor Freight gun to make it nicer. If you want your purple Harbor Freight gun to run with the big boy, go ahead and remove that General Pneumatics sticker there, because this is technically not a Harbor Freight gun anymore. Because while that gun is a nice gun, it's just a knockoff of a SATA. It's got some sealing issues, so we're gonna go over how to upgrade your gun and make it nicer. So. All right, stay tuned, man. You're not gonna want to miss this. We got a first timer here. I'm gonna pop my cherry on this door. Paint the door, man.